Maundy Thursday. In Indian myths there is a story about a teenage boy called Somadutta, who wanted to kill his master. During the time of Somadutta, in India, when the boys reach 7 years of age, they will leave their parental homes for studies. From the age of 7 until the age of 16, they will stay at the master's village home, and learn about God, science, philosophy, and trades. In the village of Somadutta there was a famous teacher called Devadutta. It was under him Somadutta started his studies. Somadutta was a boy with a lot of good qualities. Besides that, he was so brilliant in studies too. Because of all those reasons, all his fellow students liked Somadutta very much, and they counted him as a model student. Days, weeks, months, and years passed away. During that time, from a little boy Somadutta turned into a fully grown teenager. But during those long years of studies, Somadutta noticed one thing, that his master was always rude to him, and he seldom praised him, even though he was the brightest of all the students. He noticed his master praising his fellow students in their little achievements while ignoring him completely. Besides that, his master used to scold him severely even in his minor failings. Because of all those things, poor Somadutta thought his master was totally against him, and he does not like him at all. Day after day such a hurt feeling grew worse in his mind, and finally he decided to kill his master. With that intention he dragged a heavy stone block to the attic of the house and waited there to drop it on his master's head while he passed underneath. But while hiding in the attic with the stone block, Somadutta happened to overhear a conversation of his master with his wife. Master's wife asked him, "Deva, I have something to ask you. Among your students Somadutta is the brightest of all. Besides that, he is a good boy with a lot of good qualities too. Yet I have never seen you praising him, and more than that, you always behave to him, just as an enemy." Hearing the words of his wife, Devadutta said, "Mother, you are right. Somadutta is the brightest of all students that I ever had in my life. He is a boy with a lot of good qualities too. Yet I was always rude to him. For, from the very beginning he started to stay with us. I noticed one thing, he is not an ordinary boy but a child with extraordinary brilliance. I wanted to take out all the brilliance that he had, and make him a real scholar. To that I pretended to be rude to him, while I secretly admired and loved him." Hearing the words of his master, Somadutta's eyes were filled with tears. The next day he approached his master with a question, "Master, what is the punishment due to a student if he planned to kill his master?" Without knowing about the seriousness of the matter, the master said, "According to the law, if a student planned to kill his master, he should be burnt alive." Somadutta did not say anything in reply, but that night he prepared a pyre by collecting twigs from the nearby forest. Then he lighted the pyre, stepped into it and burnt alive. When we go through the lives of the people of ancient times, we can notice one thing, that in any society teachers were highly valued by its members. In India there was a saying, "Being the source of wisdom, a master is equal to God." So honoring a master is equal to worshipping God. In today's gospel we see a master, who was not an ordinary teacher but God himself. Yet he humbled himself and took the stand of a slave and washed the feet of his disciples. During the time of Jesus there was a custom among the Jews to wash their feet before entering into a house for a common meal. According to the tradition of the Jews, if a guest, who comes to the house, is an important person, the master of the house will help him to wash his feet by handing water to him. In aristocratic families it was the duty of the slaves to wash the feet of the guests. In the case of Jesus and the apostles, there was not any host to welcome them to the house when they entered into the hall for the last Passover meal. In such circumstance, usually the one who is junior in the group will help the master and the others to wash their feet by pouring water, but in the case of Jesus' last Passover meal, contrary to the tradition, that also did not happen. We can find some reasons behind that. The evangelist says, when they entered into the house, the disciples were disputing each other over who was greater among them. Most of them were thinking that Jesus was going to establish a kingdom when he entered Jerusalem. They wanted to have some prime positions in that new kingdom. Besides that, each of them wanted to be the leader of the group. So they rushed into the hall without washing their feet to occupy prime seats in the meal. They also thought, if they helped the master and the other disciples to wash their feet, they would be considered as inferior by others, and would lose all the possibility to be the leader of the group of the apostles. But Jesus really made them amazed by washing their feet and giving them a new definition for leadership. He said, a real leader should be a servant to others, not a master. When Gregory the Great was appointed as the Pope, he took a sentence as his motto, I am the servant of the servants of Jesus. That is the real spirit of Christianity, to serve the world in love and humility and love God with all one's heart and might. Let us pray to Jesus to help us to be humble and meek and never proud-hearted.